Hello and welcome to Mrinal's Math Tutorials. Today we're going to look at functions, the topic of functions. So in today's tutorial we'll be focusing on understanding the definition of a function, the different types of function, and also the horizontal and vertical line test for functions. So what is a function? Function is basically a relation such that every input has one and only one output. So all possible input values are called as domain. So domain, we define it as all possible input values, or we can say the x values. Yeah, so domain would be the x values. You can remember like that. Range is all possible output values. That means the y values. Alright. So then what are the different types of function? The types of function could be, we could have a one-to-one function, which the name explains itself. One input, one output. So for example, we are having a straight line graph. Okay, let me just draw a graph. So every input, this x value has exactly one output, the y value. This is a one-to-one function. Then we could have many-to-one function. For example, if we're having y equal to x square. Okay, so the graph would look like it will pass through the origin. So every input, every x value will have, so every input will have one output. So many inputs, like over here x1 and x2, they're having the same output. The example of this would be like when x is -2, you're going to get y would be -2 squared, which is 4. When x is 2, y would be 2 squared, which is again 4. So many inputs having the same output. This is a many-to-one function. Then we could also have a different kind of mapping. Mapping means again which is linking the input with the output. So we could have another type of mapping, which is one-to-many mapping. Okay, one-to-many mapping is not a function. So how does one-to-many look like? For example, if you have x equal to y square, the graph will look something like this. So this is x and this is y. Here one input, here x, is having two different outputs, y1 and y2. This is not a function. So we have only two types of functions, one-to-one and many-to-one. One-to-many is not a function. One-to-many is not a function, right? So there are two types of tests that we can do on the graphs of functions to understand whether it is one-to-one or many-to-one, or even if it is a function, right? So the horizontal line test is the first test. Horizontal line test tells us if the mapping is one-to-one, if the mapping is one-to-one or many-to-one. And a vertical line test tells us if the mapping is a function. So, for example, if I draw a graph like this, I'll draw a couple of graphs and then we'll check by drawing the horizontal line and the vertical line and identify if it's a function, if it is one-to-one or many-to-one. Let's say if I draw a graph of a straight line, right? So a horizontal line tells us if the mapping is one-to-one, all right, or it is many-to-one, and a vertical line will tell us if the mapping is a function. If I draw a horizontal line here on this graph, you can see that the horizontal line cuts only at one point. That means this is a one-to-one function. One-to-one function. And also we know that it is a function because if I draw a vertical line, it is going to cut only at one place. That means it is a function. Over here, it doesn't matter where you draw the vertical line. The vertical line is going to cut the graph only at one place. That means this is a function. And to identify whether it's one-to-one or many-to-one, you draw a horizontal line. Notice that the horizontal line is cutting at two places. That means this one is many-to-one function. Many-to-one function. Let us try some more examples. Over here, let us first identify if it is a function. So I will draw a vertical line. So a vertical line is telling me that the line cuts the graph only at one place. That means this is a function. And now let us draw a horizontal line to identify it is one-to-one or many-to-one. The horizontal line is telling me that this is many-to-one function. Over here, you draw a vertical line. It's cutting the graph only at one place. That means it is a function. And this one, if you draw a horizontal line, you notice that it doesn't matter where you draw it, it cuts the graph only at one place. So this is one-to-one function. Let's say if I draw another graph, which is something like this. Yeah, something like this. Let us understand if this is a function. If I draw a vertical line, you can see that this vertical line is cutting the graph at two places. That means this is not a function. So there's no question of identifying whether it's one-to-one or many-to-one. This is not a function, right? That's all for today's tutorial. Understanding the definition of function and the different types of function. Thank you for watching. If you haven't liked or subscribed my channel, please do so that you can get update about my next tutorial, which is going to be on domain and range of a function, calculating domain and range of a function. Thank you for watching.